Okay, so I'm doing my meal planning for the week, and I've decided on a few meals I want to make, take a photo of what I already have in the fridge and the pantry, and I then tell my AI shopping agent to order all the ingredients that I need but I don't yet have on hand. And I say, do a price comparison between 3 supermarkets and select the one that has all the items in stock and offers the lowest total price on my basket, including delivery fees. Choose the retailer's house brands if they're available, except for the Oreos and my other preferred national brands that I've saved in your memory. Get it delivered to my home on Monday between 9 to 11 a.m. and use my preferred credit card as payment. That's it. That is the future of grocery shopping. And since OpenAI's operator launched on Friday, I think we're closer than ever to this becoming a reality. Over the last few days since this announcement, I've noticed 3 types of reactions on LinkedIn. 1, this is going to change everything. 2, why aren't they solving real problems yet? And number 3, well, what's going to happen to retail media now? I have to say, I'm often pretty pessimistic about new technology, but this seems like a real watershed moment, even if we just look at the retail media industry. And this is where I'll get bold for a second. I think a chunk of that huge retail media ad spend that we're expecting in the coming years may partially be reallocated to AI agents. I'm going to share why and a little bit more about how I can see this playing out in the future. Let's jump in. Good morning and welcome to the Retail Media Breakfast Club. I'm your host, Kiri, and every weekday at 6 a.m. Eastern, I bring you candid and real discussions in the world of retail media and marketplaces in just 10 minutes. So bring your own cup of coffee and we'll get smarter about retail media together. So today when we shop online, we're interacting directly with a retailer's website and applications. We can see the product listings, we can see the search results, we can see the sponsored product listings from that retailer. And this direct interface is what makes retail media so valuable. Retailers can monetize our attention through advertising because they control what we see when interacting with their assortment. But let's imagine a new layer between us and those retailers, which is an AI shopping agent that handles the tedious part of shopping. So instead of manually comparing prices across multiple grocery stores, checking stock levels, and coordinating delivery times, we simply tell our AI agent to go and do those things. Like in that example I mentioned before, I got them to create the list of ingredients that I need, figure out what is the best priced option, potentially substitute with store brands if I want, but stick to the national brands for these particular categories. My preferences are saved and they can go out and do all that dirty work of price shopping and comparisons and checking that the store is going to be able to deliver in my preferred shipping window. So in this scenario where we're using an AI agent to be our shopping interface, we're not going to that retail website, right? The AI will execute all of this research and availability without us ever going to a traditional shopping website or sponsored listing. And so this new layer is going to fundamentally change who controls the consumer's attention. The sponsored product listings and display ads that retailers are introducing onto their websites and apps might never actually be seen by human eyes. It's the agent that is going to be interacting with the retailer, not a human eyeball. So many of those ads are not going to be seen by a human. Now, not all shopping use cases are the same, and it's worthwhile considering the degree to which certain categories and scenarios are more or less prone to AI disruption. So my personal view is that low consideration, routine purchases and replenishment purchases will be the most obvious ones to play out here. So in this case, AI can handle everything from price comparison to reordering. For discretionary purchases and purchases requiring a little bit more consideration and research and personal taste, and it's an expression of myself, the role might look different. So as an example, just last week, my husband needed new t-shirts. He's very picky when it comes to clothes. So he had unloaded a bunch of very specific criteria to ChatGPT about what he wanted and got some recommendations back from ChatGPT. He then went to a store to try on these clothes and ended up purchasing. So this is like a hybrid approach where a consumer might use AI for discovery, human touch for final decision, and those are instances where agents might complement rather than replace certain shopping experiences. And I think in the future, our AI agents are going to replace or augment what we're currently doing with email marketing and text marketing. So when I go to a D2C brand today, let's say I'm looking for workout apparel, right now I'm asked to give up my email address, my phone number to get a new customer discount, for example. Well, in the future, I think that the AI assistants that we each have that are trained on our personal preferences, on our size preferences, on, when we're going on vacation, when do I like to go to the gym to work out? What kind of workouts do I actually do? My AI assistant is going to interact with that brand and pass information back and forth. And I might get served a deal from that brand in the future. I might be notified that there is a new colorway available, and my AI assistant's not going to make that transaction for me because I want to go check it out and see how they're styling these workout clothes and whatnot. But the point is that AI assistant is going to be my sidekick in tracking all the brands that I have an affinity to, the stuff that I'm researching. They'll let me know when something I want goes on sale at one of my preferred retailers. And so this is like this world outside of the single use case of replenishment of grocery retail. So I just want to get you thinking about what else could be happening outside of the use case that OpenAI shared of going to Instacart and doing your grocery shop. That is just a starting point of what this is going to potentially look like. So anyway, back to the implications of what this means for retailers and brands. Retailers and brands will need to optimize not just for human shoppers, but for AI agents. And the future of retail media might not be about catching a consumer's eye with a compelling ad, but about ensuring your products are recommended by AI shopping assistants. So we've seen these kinds of patterns before in the past. I remember back when I first entered into the retail space, many brands and retailers wanted to keep customers on their own websites. They looked at Amazon as a bit of a threat. Well, why would we want to sell in a marketplace? Why wouldn't we just want to push people to our own store? They feared losing control over pricing. They feared losing control over their brand positioning and customer data that they wouldn't be able to acquire if they sold through a third-party marketplace. But of course, Amazon is where a lot of consumers want to shop, and it became one of the first places that people would begin a product search or begin to search for a solution to their problem. So it was so convenient and so helpful to consumers to have their payment information saved in one place, to be a Prime member with that lock-in effect. So Amazon started to build more customer volume, easy ordering, Prime shipping, the safety of the brand as well. So lots of brands come back to Amazon and ramped up their marketplace listings. And so shortly after that, companies are spending money on Amazon for better placement, for sponsored brand ads, for sponsored product ads and stores. What started it as wariness and resistance to selling on Amazon ended up with a recognition that ignoring Amazon meant missing millions of potential customers. And that's not to say that selling on Amazon is a bowl of cherries. There's lots of, obviously that is a sales channel that needs to be managed very closely. But just like this shift to Amazon's marketplace, I think that retailers in an AI-driven future might initially dismiss AI agents and even systematically block them. And we are seeing that some websites and some platforms are blocking ChatGPT's access to their website. But once the consumer shifts to using agents for everyday activities, for administrative support, for shopping actions, any retailer or brand that isn't playing ball there is going to ultimately lose out on revenue. So look, we are definitely in the early adopter phase of this maturity curve. If you're familiar with this adoption curve, it goes from innovator to just a tiny group of people to early adopter to mass adoption. This operator agent costs $200 a month, right? And the early tests from people who've tried to get the agent to place orders and complete a shopping action, it's clunky. But I really see this heading in a direction where the agents are going to get better and more sophisticated. They're going to understand so much more about our personal preferences that it's going to act as a body double for us when we're doing routine shopping. They'll understand our preferences and we'll be in a position where consumers will be so familiar with AI as part of their daily lives that they will look to it as a way to reduce friction and tedious, repetitive actions everywhere. There's also some existential threats here for the retailers, and especially with regards to revenues from retail media. So with the agent in that middle layer, who controls the eyeballs is who controls the media dollars. So I think that some of these larger players have to grapple with the concept of the innovator's dilemma. Are they willing to disrupt themselves and cut off one of their arms in order to stay in the race? Yes, there are security hurdles to overcome. There's integration challenges. Consumer trust needs to be built with these solutions. But if history teaches us anything, it's that convenience usually wins. And as AI adoption accelerates among consumers, who controls the consumer interface will control the new retail media. So this is my part one of what OpenAI's operator means for us in retail media land. I see it as a watershed moment for us, and we need to begin building towards this agentic future. I'd love to hear what you think. There's been a lot of great conversation happening over on LinkedIn on this topic, and I'll circle back for part 2 in a few days to share what all of this means for retailers and brands and a little bit more about how it might impact the future of retail media. So make sure that you're subscribed to the show and you don't miss the next episode. Well, that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Retail Media Breakfast Club. We meet here every day at 6 a.m. Eastern. So be sure to subscribe and get your daily dose of insights, trends, and hot takes in the world of retail media and marketplaces.